2 years after the Supreme Court upheld the Rafale deal, stating that no irregularities had been found, there are new reports published by Mediapart, a French news website, which states that Dassault, the manufacturer of the fighter, had agreed to pay €1 million to a middleman in India. Now, the report claims that the French anti-corruption agency had detected this during an audit, but had declined to alert prosecution authorities. According to Mediapart, the agency's inspectors found that Dassault had agreed to pay €1 million to a middleman just after the 2016 signing of the Rafale fighter jet deal. That middleman is now accused of money laundering in India in another defense deal. The company said that the money was used to pay for the manufacture of 50 large replica models of Rafale jets, even though the inspectors were given no proof that these models were made. Yet again, and the apparent logic of the AFA, in other words, the French investigators, decided not to refer the matter to prosecutors. So that's what the new allegations are all about. Joining us now, Jan Philippa is a journalist with Mediapart, and it's very much his story. Thanks very much, Jan, for being with us. The bottom line,
for your invitation.
You use the word middleman. In India, where does this middleman lead to?
I'm sorry, this middleman, so Mr. Sushen Gupta, is quite famous in India because, as you know, he has been placed under formal investigation in your country, in India, by the Enforcement Directorate in another arms deal, which is the very famous AgustaWestland VVIP Choppergate, as you call it. And so that's what makes, that's one of the reasons making this payment suspicious. Is it why this middleman, which is quite famous for helping many foreign aerospace companies in India, why did he receive €1 million for the alleged sales of plane models just after the Rafale deal was signed?
So, Jan, I'm just trying to understand the middleman, presuming that he was paid this €1 million or a part of that, whatever it may be. Is it your allegation or your report that this money was used to grease the palms or to bribe what, political leaders? Who are you talking about? Who was it targeted at?
I don't know. You know, Mediapart is a very respected investigative media, and we are proud to write only what we can prove. And the problem in this case is that we know that there's been these very strange and suspicious payments to this middleman under cover of buying plane models. And the real problem here is that it has not been investigated. You know, I'm just a reporter. I don't have the power to investigate this far and to follow all the money trail. And what is not normal in this case is that the French anti-corruption agency knew about this. So there should have been a formal investigation to investigate this to the bottom, but the information has not even been reported to the French prosecutors.
We'll talk about this information because it's interesting, and it's, you know, I mean, there are lots of strange things there. But I just want to understand this basic point. Mediapart believes, you believe, that this was a suspicious transaction involving a middleman in India, but the purpose of this suspicious transaction, right, beyond the models, you have not been able to identify.
Yes, we didn't. What we have very clearly is that this is a suspicious payment for two reasons. First reason, as I already said, because this middleman is already prosecuted in another defense deal in India. And the second thing that we didn't talk about yet is that, you know, when these inspectors from the French anti-corruption agency discovered this payment, they asked Dassault about it, you know, what is it? And especially this payment was written in Dassault's accounts as a gift to customers.
Yes.
So, you know, which is very strange for a plane model of this price, you know, so expensive. And what we learned is that Dassault was not able to provide any element of proof showing that these models have been manufactured or have been delivered, not even a picture of these models. So, you know, beyond that, all that we can say is that, yes, it is suspicious. So we don't have proof yet that there is a direct relationship with the Rafale deal.
Right.
But what we know is that, what we think is that given this, this information should have been reported to French prosecutors in order to try to discover the truth.
Yeah. So, Jan, since, we spoke earlier on, or we've been in touch, I did a little bit of asking around. And what I've learned is that there is a model of the Rafale, apparently one of these models, outside the residence of the air chief here in New Delhi. There's one apparently at the Gwalior Air Force Base, which is the Mirage 2000 Air Force Base. I believe there'll be a couple which will be sent to Hashimara, which is the second Rafale squadron, which is being set up. Apparently one at the Western Air Command over here in New Delhi. And the point being made is that they have been built. It's not as if it's a figment of someone's imagination. They're actually there. A few of them haven't yet been delivered, but they've been made. But I think the point that remains strange is why should each model cost 20,000 euros? I don't get that.
I don't get that either. And, I also spotted some of these models. There's even an official picture released by Dassault Aviation that you can find on their website in the, press section of their, media resources section of their website. So there's one of these models, which is in front of one of the Dassault establishments in India
yes,
that we
I
published
saw that.
in our story. But my problem is that we don't know. So there's this problem of the price that you pointed out, and that's very strange. And also there's a problem that Dassault refused to confirm to me that these are the same models. The models that you spotted and the models that I spotted in India. Are there the same models that were ordered to this Indian company? We don't know. And what is strange is that if there was no problems and that was just an Indian company manufacturing models, Dassault should have spoken to us. They should have told us, everything is clear. We ordered these models. They are going to be given to institutions in India to celebrate the Rafale deal. They could have explained us, but they said no comment. So
would any company actually celebrate?
There seems to be a kind of an embarrassment regarding these plane models at Dassault headquarters.
If this is not part of the Rafale deal, because this was signed, this contract, the invoice was provided after the Rafale deal was signed, it would seem that the amount of money, 1 million euros for gifts, right? This is basically a gift for institutions, some sort of celebration of the Rafale deal. Even for a company as large as Dassault, it's a very significant amount of money, 1 million euros, right? And that's
yes.
why have this after a deal is signed?
That's what I would like to know. And again, I'm just a reporter, so I try to do my best to find information. But, I don't want to speculate about the stuff that I cannot prove. When can I prove something, I write it and I talk with you very freely. But what is sure is that there's something suspicious behind this, but there would be a need of a formal investigation to dig that to the bottom.
And final question, when you did go to the French prosecutor and said, look, can you tell me why this point was not highlighted? What did the French prosecutor, I beg your pardon, the French anti-corruption investigator, right? What did the French anti-corruption investigator tell you?
No comment. Absolutely no comment. They
and
say
there
we
was
refuse to
there
comment.
Was no explanation of why no comment?
No explanation. All that they told me is that there is professional secrecy, that they are bound by French law to professional secrecy for these audits, and so that they were not at liberty to comment the results of these audits.
So professional secrecy for basically the supply of what is a toy. A model is a toy, but there's professional secrecy in that as well. All right, Jan Philippa, thank you so much for joining us. A couple of important points. Number one, the cost is suspicious. But number two, there doesn't at this stage appear to be any direct indicator of where this alleged middleman went with the funds that they received, and whether it actually links to a political leader or somebody else. That's not been established, and perhaps will not be established in the other Mediapart reports on the Rafale deal, all of which are expected to be published by Thursday. Now, this has resulted, perhaps predictably, in a war of words between the Congress and the BJP. Let's listen in to what the allegations and the counter-allegations are.
पार्टी फिर राफेल की बात कर रही है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट में तो हार गए, सीएजी ने भी फिर उसको रिजेक्ट कर दिया। कि मैंने एक बात कही थी कि राहुल गांधी जी होमवर्क नहीं करते हैं। तो लगता है कि उनके प्रवक्तागण और बाकी लोग भी होमवर्क नहीं करते हैं। ये जो जिसने ये चर्चा की है, एक तो कॉर्पोरेट राइवलरी है, आपको मालूम है फ्रांस की चलती है। सबसे मजेदार बात यह है कि उसने सुशेन गुप्ता का नाम लिया है। सुशेन गुप्ता, ये गुप्ता महाशय कौन है? जिनको अगस्ता वेस्टलैंड में इंडियन एजेंसी ने गिरफ्तार किया था। और ये सुशेन गुप्ता कौन है? तो सलमान खुर्शीद ने तो पब्लिकली कहा है कि हम इसके परिवार को जानते हैं। ये बिल्कुल बेबुनियाद है। और मैं बड़ा सवाल कांग्रेस से पूछना चाहूंगा, भारत के हमारे जो सुरक्षा बल हैं उनके अंदर की मजबूती को कब तक कमजोर किया जाएगा?
How can middlemen and payment of commission be permitted in a government to government defense contract or in any defense procurement in India in violation of the mandatory defense procurement procedure? Does it not now require a full and independent investigation into India's biggest defense deal to find out as to how much bribery or commission or both have been paid in reality, if any, and paid to whom in the Indian government? And last question, will the Prime Minister now answer to the nation?
Well, joining us now, Wing Commander Anuma Acharya, security analyst and spokesperson of the Congress Party. We're also joined by Deshratan Nigam, a political analyst. Thanks both very much for being with us. Wing Commander Acharya, you heard us speaking to the journalist who actually wrote this particular report. But ma'am, they don't have evidence on where this alleged money trail, if there is a money trail, leads to. Quite clearly says, we are not reporting what we don't know. And so to specific questions on, was there a kickback to anybody? Did this help facilitate a part of that deal? Says, we don't know this, so we haven't reported that. That's not what we are looking at. This being the case, do you believe that there needs to be an investigation here in India to look at where the funds of this company went? Should this company be audited for this deal?
Vishnu, all I have to say is that whatever has been revealed, it has been revealed from the audit books, audit of accounts of that particular company, and they have found gifts to client. That was the thing which was written and which has been highlighted. All I have to say is, besides this, as a logistics officer who used to deal with, not with the capital procurement, but the revenue procurement, I happened to go through this CAG report. And I have found a couple of things which were objectionable in that deal. One was that it is an intergovernment deal, but it has not been disclosed what is the saving to us, because in any intergovernment deal, the government has to pay lesser amount because the product is already established in the other country and it is already in use. So
no, but Wing Commander, we are not talking about the old Rafale deal. There's been a Supreme Court judgment on that.
No,
and if you want to talk about the CAG report, there are lots of parts of the CAG report, linking to UPA Times, which we can also talk about. I'm only asking you about this investigation, ma'am. And I'm trying to understand whether you believe the accounts of this Indian company need to be audited, because it seems strange that a model would cost 20,000 euros. Yes or no?
We can definitely investigate that, because it is concerning a country and it is concerning another defense deal, and the deal has a lot of deficiencies. Already when we have gone into it, we have gone without a warranty bank guarantee clause. What is a safeguard with us? Tomorrow if a Rafale doesn't function properly.
The guarantee is that these aircraft are being delivered broadly on schedule, that there has not been any problem in the delivery schedule at all. And secondly, there is French government oversight. There is French government oversight on every aspect of the financial receipt of payments from India, right? There are meetings held every 3 months to see whether the funds which have been received by India go towards the actual acquisition of this aircraft. This has been a flawless acquisition process so far. But ma'am, let's talk about what we know so far. This is all old hat, but just a moment, let me bring in Deshrata Nigam at this particular stage. Sir, there are still some important questions that need to be asked. Yes, this particular deal between this India-based company and its owner happened after the Rafale deal was signed. But is it not strange that 20,000 euros was spent per model which was built? Why would any company do that? Therefore, the allegation that it's strange, that seems it seems founded. Wouldn't you agree? Shouldn't that be looked at?
I think I'll give you a very common sense reply, and obviously through legal perspective as well. The fact remains that it was a government-to-government deal, and all payment receipts, as you rightly pointed out, there is a French government oversight, and they are looking after the deal so that the schedule is maintained, which has been maintained till now. Now, whether it can be audited in India? No, certainly not, because this is a separate contract between two companies, and it is a question of non-performance of a contract, and therefore it boils down between a private dispute between two parties, private parties, and Government of India has nothing to do with it. And to stretch it, nobody has any evidence, mere suspicion. And I'm sure if I was in the French, anti-corruption bureau, I would have referred the matter, because there is no evidence, no proof, mere suspicion. So therefore, it has rightly not been referred for prosecution.
No, but
sir, as a lawyer,
but Mr. Nigam, sir, is it not problematic if you are an auditor, and this is what Mediapart is actually arguing, that how is it that a deal where €500,000 has been paid as a 50% advance for the procurement of 50 models at a cost of €20,000, how can any company justify that? That's the job of an auditor, to raise questions. How is it not a valid question?
No, not for Indian audit. If it is under French laws, they can as well do it. Let me tell you, this is a contract between two private parties, and if one party is not performing or overcharging, this is between the two parties. Indian government has nothing to do with it. You cannot link this contract with the Rafale contract. This particular contract is between two private parties.
That's
and
true.
The present
Wing
contract
Commander Acharya, I think Deshrata Nigam makes an important point, that the Rafale deal was announced. It was signed, in fact. After that, this happened. So this is not the Rafale deal.
But there is a possibility of a kickback. See, it is an inter-government deal. The Rafale contract is not some private party deal. It is an inter-government deal. After that, whatever is happening, it should be auditable, because it belongs to our country. It is not a private things are happening. It's not a private business affair which is happening. It conveys that there has been, because already there are so many things which I have been telling, and you say that it is an old story and all. But let me tell you that not only we don't know about how much privileges, how much financially, fiscally we are gaining while we are getting into this intergovernment deal. Besides that, the warranty clause, then there is no penalty clauses on the late deliveries and all. Though delivery is coming as a schedule, but we have in our purchase procedures, we have all those procedures very clearly laid down, and it has not gone as per that.
No, but these purchase procedures are different for every country. The acquisition of weapons from Russia, ma'am, follows different guidelines than the procedure of acquiring weapons, and they're different legal documents. There's not one size fits all. And thus far, there has not been any delay in acquisition of this aircraft.
No, Vishnu, let me tell you that Defense Procurement Procedure and Defense Procurement Manual, these two are standard documents. Very little we do it. Some advance payment we give to Israel when we make purchases from Israel. Generally, we do not give advance payment to any other country.
But bank guarantees are not accepted by the Russians either for any number of weapon systems. There is no bank guarantee which has been guaranteed by the Russian state towards the acquisition of any number of weapon systems from Russia.
Because that is again an intergovernment deal wherein FSMTC comes into play. FSMTC is the guarantee. Besides that, any avia kind of companies which we deal into, we definitely take the warranty bank guarantee from them, and also the penalty clause for the late delivery.
But again, I don't want to move away from, this is technical, and I mean, it's a fair argument, but the fact of the matter is these aircraft are being delivered on time. Be that as it may, Deshrata Nigam, should an inquiry not be ordered in India? This is a case which went to the Supreme Court twice. There's been so much interest in this, so many allegations on this, and therefore in the interest of transparency, even if this happened after the deal, should there not be an inquiry on how a company in India was making $20,000 euros for a model of a plane?
Vishnu, let us be very, very clear what government of India has to do with it. Mere possibilities, you know, even the French government has not referred it to prosecution. They themselves, it is well within their jurisdiction. If their audit report is pointing it out, they have not found it fit to be referred because of the lack of evidence or anything. Mere possibilities does not lead to any prosecution. Please remember that. An Indian government has nothing to do with it. It's a separate government between two private parties. If they have a problem, they can take each other to the court. But to say that government of India has to do with things, I think it's a wild imagination, and anybody can point out, even the other panelists said it's possibilities. You know, possibilities don't lead to prosecution or any legal steps. And at best, at the best scenario could be the French government, since it is their audit report, they can launch something. It is Indian government has nothing to do with it. Indian schedules are there on time. We have discussed all technical aspects, Vishnu, on your program, and I was a panelist, and I have clearly pointed out the savings and everything. We had a detailed discussion. CAG report is also there. Supreme Court has also stamped it. But then we have an election here. The controversy comes up, so that some kind of, influencing, as rightly pointed out Ravi Shankar Prasad ji, some kind of a corporate rivalry out there. You don't know what is going on out there. Even the French government, if it does not think fit to be prosecuted, you expect Indian government to prosecute something in which it had nothing to do with it.
Okay. Okay, Wing Commander, last 30 seconds to you, ma'am. Last comment, yes.
The point here is it has been endorsed as gift to client. If it was a model, it could have been written, models have been given. Or if it was a simulator training, that could have been specified.
But ma'am, these are outside the Indian Air Force. This is outside the Indian Air Force Chief's residence, Western Air Command, the Air Force Base at Gwalior.
Who is the client? Who is the client? This client word has to be specified. Therefore, an investigation is definitely needed. This is what is my point.
Okay, all right, fair enough, fair enough. I'd like to thank you both very much for joining us on this. There's a lot more which is likely to emerge, including documents which Mediapart will be coming out with in the next couple of days. Is this new Rafale controversy the real deal?